And we're live. Welcome, everyone to episode 32 of Gunpla Talk. I am one of your amazing co-hosts, group of 4 today, hopefully 5. My name is Tim, the one and only Child of Mecca. And as always, I am joined by a cavalcade of amazing modelers and other fine gentlemen. So we're going to go around the room real quick. We're going to introduce everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about what each one of us is working on, go over some news and some things, and then we're going to get into some sanding and abrasive and finishing and all that fun stuff today. So without any further ado, let's start off with my good friend from Australia, Mr. Josh Dare. Introduce yourself, sir.
Hey everybody, my name is Josh Darren. I'm from Australia, and I build Gunpla, and I enter the GBWC sometimes, and I do a lot of drawing as well. I draw a Gundam on my website, joshuadara.com. You can buy all my prints and stuff, and that's it.
Hey Josh, I also heard just this last week, someone told me that you also made a book apparently or something.
Oh, the book.
I've heard that before.
Oh yeah, I heard about that book.
If anybody doesn't know, I chronicled the process of my Zeta for the GBWC and made it an ebook. And you can go to my website and pay whatever you want for it, Radiohead style, and download it. And it's got all the steps that I did throughout the whole build, and hopefully some funny jokes in there as well to keep you entertained. But yeah, I'm really proud about that. So yeah, go grab it if you don't have it already.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Definitely worth the $2.
Yeah, nice one.
No, man, pay more. Nice.
Hey, you guys watched the Thor Ragnarok, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just last night, I was watching just some YouTube video that was like the best scenes of, I think it was Korg. I think that like rock guy.
Oh God, I think I know where you're going.
Josh just sounded like when Josh is talking, I'm just like imagining that rock guy's voice sounds.
Yeah,
just like that.
Oh man, I'll have to like do an impersonation for you because living in Australia, we sort of can do a bit of a New Zealand sort of accent. So I'll have to drop something a little bit later. Yeah.
I think if you just like talked like a little bit less enthusiastic and just like super duper chill, like half asleep, you'd sound
super chill. Yeah, look, I like Gunpla and stuff because it's really cool to do and it's a nice hobby and it makes me smile, you know.
Yeah. That's exactly it, man.
That's it. There you go.
That's exactly it. That's awesome.
That's great.
Did you guys, when I was watching that, because we've had a lot of that New Zealand humor here in Australia, and it just cracks us up. But my guess is that you guys in the States, or Zach from the States, that you haven't seen much of it. Had you seen much before like that?
No, not really. Like I wouldn't have heard that and like known that that's exactly New Zealand.
Yeah.
Is that like a really typical like New Zealand way to speak?
There's like like the Maori, they I don't know, there's almost like a caricature that people will do, but that's kind of how a lot of them will talk, and it's this just chill, happy-go-lucky, super just super chill, and it cracks me up all the time. A lot of movies from NZ directed by the same guy. I think there's one called is it What We Do in the Darkness or something, and it's a bunch of vampires. And do you know Flight of the Conchords? Have you seen that show?
Yeah.
So Jermaine from that. They're all vampires and live in a share house, and it's just things that they go through. And there's so many guys talking like that, and then it cracks me up. Yep.
Oh shit, that's awesome. I got to check that out.
Hmm.
I mean, Taika Waititi as Korg. I mean, honestly, one of the best parts in that movie. Easily.
That was hilarious.
Nice. Awesome. All right, let's keep moving on here. Let's go over to wow, the one part of our cavalcade that we've been missing for a while, Mr. Justinius Builds. Justin, man, where have you been?
I have been so busy with work that I haven't been able to do anything, and I hate it. I love my job, but man, I haven't been able to work on anything. So that's what I've been doing.
I know. I think like every time we have a show, you're scheduled to shoot a photo shoot or something like that, you know?
I know it, and I'm like, the funniest thing is that I hate dance season more than anything. And my boss, everybody knows this. They're like, I don't like to dress up. I don't like to be up late. And they put me on these dances. And I'm like, there's not like a whole studio full of employees you can do this for. So, you know, whatever.
But it's funny. You have to like dress up in more of like a suit sort of style because you're at a
Yeah, like if I could go in my normal work uniform, I wouldn't bitch at all. I would do it. But I have to wear like a
Damn it.
and I hate it. But what have I been working on? I have let's see. This is probably my favorite thing that I've worked on this here lately. Is I painted this tiny little skeleton.
Man.
And yeah, I'm working on a master grade Zaku and a master grade Alex conversion and a bunch of other stuff. It's just almost done, but not quite. So I'm just kind of wrapping some projects up, and then I think I'm going to do something big and fun.
Awesome. Well, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about that, what you're working on here in a few minutes. Let's go over to Zach. Let him introduce himself. Zach, go ahead, man.
Hey, it's me, Zach. Yeah, and this is. Are we talking about what we're working on now at the same time? Or we usually do that.
See, I got confused. That's why I did that.
Justin has been on a while.
Been so long.
Yeah,
Justin, jeez.
Justin's out of practice here.
Might as well.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I'm Zach, obviously, and it's been. I know you guys may have been like experiencing this through like maybe shops that you search or shops that you use online or something, but it's Chinese New Year in this part of the world. So it's been a holiday for the past week, but I've been off. It's a holiday also. It's my holiday from school anyway. So like all January I was off, and then we went back for like 9 days and then off again for the rest of February. So that's good, but it doesn't exactly mean that I've had more free time. I've just been, with the baby and with the family the whole time. So
yeah,
just been doing that and working a little bit on stuff when I can. Working on painting up this mega-sized Zaku real quick. I have a few, like a small handful of parts that still need to be primed, but other than that, most everything primed, and a couple of the colors are already painted. So it's going pretty well.
Cool.
Working on that, and then just everything else. At the moment, just doing a little snip-snap on this guy.
Oh, it's A to Z.
A to Z Gundam. It's pretty cool. I was on the fence of whether I really liked it or not, but it is a pretty cool design. I like it.
Nice.
The fins on the side of the head are pretty interesting.
Wow.
You're gonna be able to, if the camera's gonna focus on that. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, and then just everything else. Also, super excited to build that. I got that 1/2 scale BB-8 kit. That's so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just show you this box.
Tim and Justin, have you guys built any of the Bandai Star Wars kits?
No, I have not.
I built the Stormtrooper, and I love it.
Oh my gosh!
How big is
the
it?
box?
What? I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's like a perfect grade.
Like, I haven't seen that much about it. I didn't even know it was coming out until like last November when I was in Japan, and I saw it there on the shelf. I was like, whoa.
What's the retail on
So this explains why people have been posting this a lot. This is fairly recent, right?
Yeah, I think it came out last fall. Yeah.
Because I remember when the figure kits first dropped, you could get like a double pack of him and R2D2.
Yeah.
And
This
like
one.
I didn't really see too much about it, and now like I see him all over the place.
This one?
Yeah, like this build. And I'm like, why the hell is everybody building BB-8s all of a sudden?
It's really cool.
So that
it's 14,000 units. It's not cheap.
Oof.
But the box is like the size of like the Great Exia box. It's almost exactly the same size.
Because the BB-8 is pretty big, so half size. Man.
Yeah.
It's like here's like parts for the head, for example.
Wow.
That's pretty
Really
big.
huge parts too. It's not like it's not really complicated. It's just a lot of big, huge parts.
Oh, okay. Does it have orange for the orange parts?
Yeah, those
Okay,
runners
cool.
are. Sorry for the loud sound. Really interesting runners. Look at that.
That's like you can
No,
just throw
Josh,
them up and
no
shoot them
color
with a shotgun.
separation at all.
Yeah.
So
That's a real man's model right there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's it. Ain't got no time for painting.
No color set. It's all molded in white. You got to paint yourself.
Now, give us some details, Zach. LEDs, water slides. What else? Anything else
what else does
to
it come with? It comes with one LED unit for the eyes,
Okay.
and then it shows in the manual like another separate like LED unit that's not like Bandai's normal LED unit, kind of like the set that came with the Unicorn or the Exia, but like much smaller, just like a few. I don't know if that's sold separately or something. I haven't seen that, or if it's just like a guide for like if you're gonna build your own LED unit. But it looks like how Bandai did in their manual for the perfect grades to use LED units. So I don't know about that. But yeah, otherwise, no, it doesn't come with any water slides actually, and it just comes with some stickers, and not that many of them either. But from my experience, the couple of Star Wars kits that I've built, usually the smaller ones, they give you like a sheet of stickers and water slides, and they're like exactly the same.
Yeah,
the choice. But a lot of them are like going over. Like, the kits are really well detailed, so like the stickers or water slides, whichever you choose to use, are like laying over like a bunch of surface details. So like, I wouldn't really use them anyway.
Right.
You're better off just nesting and painting.
Huh. I mean, it's so big, you could probably paint those details anywho, you know?
Yeah, and I think I really need to get a larger airbrush, for that. It's going to be such a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Man, you need a full-on spray gun, man. Jeez.
Yeah, for those really huge parts. Even like for the mega size, it sucks. The parts are so big.
Man, I hadn't done any big painting before until I like painted just the little Chogokin base for my Zeta. It takes forever. Yeah, you're doing line after line, and I'm like, I wish I just had like a car spray gun. Oh my gosh!
And when I was painting the really big fuel tank for the Psycho Zaku Master Grade kit, that thing was like this big.
Yeah.
Oh my god, huge. Also, just another thing that I just got in the mail. Shout out to my dad for sending this to me. This is actually my own painting, but
that's cool.
Ah, man, that's great. Wow.
Was that it? Hold that up again. Let me see. Oh, nice. That's a young Chevy Chase from Saturday Night Live, yeah?
Yep.
Man.
In college, I did a project where I did a series of paintings of like famous actors that I liked, basically. And
That's cool.
that was one of them. There's another one that I brought back with me from our last trip home of Jeff Goldblum over in the other room.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is great. That is great. Very cool. Anything else you're working on?
That's pretty much it. I should say also that I do have the contest going on, mail contests for people just to send just like physical mail to count as like your entry, and then I'll just be giving stuff away, just choosing a few random winners for a giveaway. And also just my shirt sale is almost done on my site, so on my merch site. So
On that site. Nice.
check that out. Yeah.
All right.
The collaboration shirts that I'm doing, which are super cool. Those are going to be done, and then also a bunch of my older shirts I'm also going to just be shutting down at the end of the month. So till the end of February, check those out.
All right.
Bye.
Well, thank you, sir. Josh, what are you working on, man? Let's
I have
circle back.
I haven't been working on much lately. I finished the Ponyo house, but I showed you guys that last time.
That was great.
That still made me really, really happy. One thing I've been working on is reading. Just using the brain and enjoying literature. No, seriously, this is just a manga that I started. Maybe about 6 or so years ago. And it's by a guy called Hiroki Samura. And it's set in like feudal Japan. And it's got these samurai guys. One guy's trying to get revenge on these big dojo, these bunch of like samurai guys who killed her family and everything. But what blows me away is the artwork inside this. Like he's got like the ink artwork here, but down on the bottom, it's all done in pencil as well. So it's got like separate pages. And if any of you guys have drawn before, you know how long it takes to draw anything. And I'll flip through a page and there's like 4 big panels, and one of these would take me just like 3 hours to do. But what's cool about this is his sense of the human form just is insane. How he poses bodies and arms, and I don't know if you guys have ever tried to draw hands, but hands are like impossible to draw and not have them look super derpy. So yeah, I've been reading this one, and there's about 30 of these books, and he started it in '97, and he just finished it, I think, in 2013. So I'm glad that I came to the tail end of it and didn't have to wait like however many years, 25 years for it to be finished. But I'm reading it, and it's a really cool book where there's some fighting, which is really good, but then there'll just be a whole book of just talking, people sitting in their Japanese kind of tea house just talking, and you're just as enthralled in the talking. So characters are cool. So that's my first manga I've ever read, and I really like it. Yeah.
Nice. Now, just real quick, not just a tangent here. Zach, do you know a Mr. Max Rensberger?
Yeah, that's my dad.
Oh.
He recently had a shoulder surgery, if I can talk. So hoping that he's feeling well. He's recovering from that. So
awesome.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, I saw him comment in the chat, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Hey, Max.
Hey,
probably not a whole lot of people with that last name.
Dad. Awesome. Enjoy the show, sir. Awesome. Okay, so back to it. Josh, you working on anything else? Anything else you want to share?
Anything else? Have you guys, this is totally not Gunpla at all. Have you seen the drone racing that people do?
Yeah.
They fly drones? Yep.
Are you getting into it?
My friend brought one over, and it was just a little teeny tiny one, and you put the goggles on so you can like see what the camera sees. Oh my gosh, it's really cool. He was just flying me around my living room and down my hallway, and it's like this out of body experience because it feels like you're actually flying around. So now I'm trying to get into it, and of course, when you're a little bit older and you've gotten into a few hobbies, there's like the entry level thing, what you do when you buy the kit on the Saturday morning, straight after you found out about it, and then you end up spending a couple $100 next week. So I'm trying to skip that, but there's going to be like $800 or something for all the controls and everything. But
nice.
You can get like a simulator. I got a little simulator on my laptop here, and so you can just use your PlayStation controller, drive yourself around. I've crashed it so many times, so I'm glad I'm doing the sim before breaking my like $500 drone. So so I'm gonna try some of that out. So yeah, it's really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I'd love to get one of the Mavic Airs, the Mavic Air Pro or Pro Air. I forget what the name is. Yeah, but all the reviews I've seen are just amazing, and I could do some wicked stuff with it. I would love to have one.
Yeah,
price is kind of still a little outside of my range, but hey,
totally.
So anyway, all right. Well, thank you, sir. So I guess that leaves me. What am I working on? I am working diligently on video content, getting stuff ready for you guys to roll out on that. Working on refurbing my store too, adding some really cool products and things like that for you guys. That should be ready to go very soon. Spent a ton of time on that here the last week or so. So I want that to be ready kind of in the same time frame. So look out for that. Anywho, that's all I'm working on really. So let's transition here over to Zach with the news. Zach, what's in the news?
We got the new series, so we'll talk about that. One thing I did just want to mention too before I get into that is someone asked in the chat if I gave up on the Tristan project. No, I certainly did not, and I won't be giving up on the Tristan project. But I just didn't.
I just googled that this morning.
What?
Where did Justin go?
Sorry, I dropped something.
It's invisible.
No, I looked that up this morning. I found myself scrolling through YouTube, and one of Zach's videos popped up in the sidebar. And I was like, I wonder if the next Tristan video is out yet. And I went and looked on your channel, and I went like way back, and I was like, no, he hasn't done it yet. And I was like, I could bug him about it, but I know that he gets a lot of questions, so I'll just leave him alone.
Yeah, thank you for just checking and seeing that it's not there, and then just not bothering me about it.
Right. Whoa. Can you do that? Can you just check it yourself? Oh my gosh.
I know, unheard of.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think, but no.
Yeah,
I've got all the new Build Divers kits and stuff. Do we want to just, because that's the majority of the stuff that I'm going to show for all the new stuff is related to that series. So do you guys want to just talk a bit about your first reaction to the series maybe first?
Sure.
Oh yeah.
What do you guys think? Did you watch the prologue?
Nah.
No?
It's just another Build Fighters show. You guys, if you have watched this show any in the past 3 years that we've done this, my feelings on Build Fighters. Nah, forget it. I'm not into it.
For you,
but
Tim.
hey, I totally get why people are. Shoot your question, sir.
I got a question. So you're walking through the woods, right?
Oh, damn.
What's that?
And you come to a crossroads.
Yes.
You come to a crossroads.
Yes.
And there's a sign at the crossroads, and if you go to the left, it says Reddit Gunpla, and you go to the right, and it says Build Fighters. Which way do you travel down?
It's a crossroads, so I'm gonna go straight.
Nah, man, it's split. It's a fork.
No, you said a crossroads.
Well, let's see. What will the third direction take you to?
Four directions.
So let's see. Our fourth one would be.
No. Well, you already put it out there. We're done. I'm going straight.
The fourth one is the fourth one is the Build Divers.
It's Reddit
page on the Gundam
exclusively for Build Divers.
I don't know.
I watched the.
What's that? What do you say?
I can't find this piece that I dropped.
I know. It's just funnier with you being on the floor.
It's great.
I know it. Oh well.
Anywho, that's my
whatever.
Yeah. I mean, that's my feeling on it. I mean, I get why other people like it, and I'm super enthused for them, but I'm just, it's not my thing. They love me.
I watched it, and it feels like it's going to be the same sort of thing, silly, over-the-top battles, and I just really like that. I just love the battles all the time. And then there was that little cat, mouse, dog sort of pilot guy, which just made me laugh out so loud that now there's like some animal flying these Gundams. That was great. So yeah, I still like it.
That little ferret thing has created a little bit of a rift in the community.
Oh man.
Yeah. All the furries came out for that one.
Yeah.
I can't go. It's not been a single day since that trailer's dropped that I don't scroll down my Facebook feed and see some furry Gundam crossover thing. It's so weird.
Nice. What do you think, Zach?
I watched the prologue, and yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. It's just Build Fighters, but Bandai Namco just didn't want to do season 3 for whatever reason. They wanted to make it fresh, make it a little bit different. So props to them for that, but it's barely different. It's a little bit more like realistic. And I think that one thing that they probably have in mind too is some crossover like with Gundam Base, that they'll probably have some VR thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That like some VR attraction that they're going to build into Gundam Base related to that. So there'll be that. So I think they're thinking about like how to really maximize the series. But yeah, I don't know. Like I'm kind of like between Tim and like a fan. I'm not like that into it. Like if I just didn't watch it or if it just didn't exist, I don't think it would really affect me all that much. But the kits are fun. I mean, like that's kind of my thing, is reviewing kits, and the kits are pretty fun to check out. And of the new kits that are coming out, they all look pretty interesting in different ways. So there's that. Like as long as we're getting cool kits out of it, then I don't really care if the series is the best series ever or if it's the worst series ever. If the kits are cool.
What's the green dude with the red head and like the little red shoulders? I always forget.
The Grimoire?
Grimoire. Yeah, I never really liked the Grimoire, but then just the slight changes that they put on the front of his shins, I'm like, oh man, he looks really cool. Yep.
I love the Grimoire, but that looks incredible. It looks so nice.
But I didn't know. I thought this was a whole new season coming out. I thought it was a whole new bunch of characters and stuff. Is it just a little short episode? Is that it?
No, it's a whole new series. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought they were doing just a whole new name for a tiny little episode. Yeah. Okay.
No, yeah, I think they had like the couple little spin-off build fighters things. It was like Battle Log and Jim's Counterattack that they were doing, but this is a whole new series. So that's just kind of my feeling too. And that I wish that they would have done something new. Like this is nice that it's a little bit different from Build Fighters at least, but at least doing like a whole new series, something totally new, like Iron Blood Orphans or something based off of a manga or something like that. That's already out there.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for that new UC Century series. You know, that I don't have to pay for.
And since Unicorn, it's nothing new.
No, Unicorn was technically a movie. They just decided to re-release it for some reason. That was kind of weird.
Well, it was like an OVA. It was like 7 parts original.
Yeah, and then they're doing the same thing with Origins. So I guess that's why we haven't gotten anything, is because Origin's still going strong. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Origin's amazing. So
Origin's crazy.
I need to watch it. I watched the first one. I loved it, and I'm just waiting for it to finish so I can
dude,
sit and
yeah,
watch it all.
it's great. It really is good. And you know, with Build Divers, I think one of the, I guess, silver linings, if you will, if we get a cool Naoki build out of it, then I'll be a little bit happier about it.
Yeah, I'm always down with that. Always down with that. They need to just go ahead and animate the manga for Build Fighters, where he does all the cool designs for that, because
Yeah,
some of those kits
I'm
that
down
come
with
out
that.
of the manga look great.
Are they
Definitely.
still like kind of bashes of existing designs, just with Kotoki kind of influence?
I think so.
It kind of looks like
I
it.
think it.
Like that.
I think the manga follows the Meijin, and he seems to just take whatever lead Gundam or whatever and just make it his own thing. So I think until we get the Barbatos Lupus Rex amazing, we're gonna keep seeing those.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, it just like in comments and things that I've seen, people have been really fiending to see like Arm Blooded Orphans anything in Build Fighters. I don't think it's gonna
Wow,
happen,
yeah.
I mean, it
I
would
think it's
be
gonna
the
be a
next
couple
logical
years.
step.
They gotta wait for the license to expire or whatever, and then they can start using it in other stuff.
I don't know.
I don't know how it works. I mean, we still haven't seen a unicorn in Build Fighters, to my knowledge, either. So
There was in one
Was
of the
there?
last episodes, I think. Yeah, it was the painted. It was in RX-78 colors.
Oh, like in like one of the shops or something, they had all the displays and stuff.
In one of those final battle episodes where they had like all the people like bringing their kits in together for like the final super melee thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So surprise everybody, this is going to be our monthly show on Build Fighters. Tim is our host, and
we're just gonna talk all things build fighters and now Build Divers.
Yes, Build Divers. Build Fighters. Build Fighters is freedom.
Excitement level. All right. So anyway, Zach, please continue. What else is in the news?
All right. So let me share my screen here. Hang on a minute. And present. I'll present and share entire screen. But here we go. I think you guys are seeing now my Finder, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Let me just do one of these. All right. So I guess I could have shown this while we were talking about it. These are just some stills from the prologue. Anyway, the Buster Gundam painted up in heavy Gundam colors.
Not bad.
Well, I forget the name of that from Victory Momosu. The Bao and York Jagan, which is coming out, or I think it's about to be out. Anyway, the thing that I was wondering about it, just before we move on to the kits, is that so like they go in and like these are their avatars for the series.
Yes.
What the hell is that, man?
It's the future, Tim. It's the future. This is what we've been wanting.
Speak for yourself, brother.
So they go in and they have like a costume, Zach?
Yeah, it's not a custom. It's an avatar. It's a virtual avatar. So kind of like
okay.
What's that?
Kind of like Ready Player One.
Could be. Yeah.
Like dot hat.
So the thing that's strange about it is that like it seems like the whole thing is just this virtual world and they can choose their own avatar. But so I wondered if like they could also alter like their Gundam in there, like just virtually. Like it's not like with Build Fighters, they had to actually build the physical kit. And then it's like goes into the system. But in this one, I guess it's gonna be the same thing. But it just seems kind of
weird.
What I liked
about Build Fighters. There was a lot of emphasis on building. If you don't got to build your Gundam in this, I don't think I'm gonna be as on board.
Well, you do at the end of the prologue. It showed that.
I love the just the serious man. If you ain't building, I can't do it. I can't be a part of this. It's great. I love it. This is why the hobby's so good, is we can take it so serious.
Yeah.
Justin has finally seen the dark side.
No, it's just that was the one thing that I liked about Build Fighters, because I related to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Well, this one too. They are actually building the kits, but it just seems kind of strange that they wouldn't be able to. I mean, if they can alter their own avatar, that why not? They can just like alter their Gundams in the virtual space as well.
And maybe it's just like some kind of rule or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not allowed to. Yeah.
I guess so. So anyway, yeah, that's the deal with that. So the kits. First thing is we're getting these Haropla, which is cool.
I kind of dig these, I have to admit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's if we're gonna
I
be
see him like a bear guy, you know?
yeah, it's like a petite guy, but it's of a much more lovable character. I think they're cool.
Trying to throw shade on the bear guy, Zach? What are you doing there? You trying to throw some shade on the bear guy? What's up with that?
Little teddy bears are cool, but I prefer like something that's been in the series for like 40 years.
Fair enough.
Actually,
so
has anybody done a Haro bear guy where it's like the Haro is the head of the bear guy or anything?
Ooh,
probably.
I'm sure
I mean, it's not that complicated, but yeah. I'll look at him. Oh my gosh, what a ridiculous character! This is great.
And I like that there's the inside detail as well.
Oh shit! It has an inner frame.
Open hatch. Yes.
And they're only going to be, they're like petite guys. They're only going to be like 500 yen. So
nice.
That's cool.
That's cool.
And you can see they're also using the same kind of like puzzle piece stand there. So I'm guessing that's going to be compatible with the petite guy stands as well, probably.
Nice.
So those are cool. They're doing these three colors at first, and there's also a different version that's a little bit more expensive that has animal ears as well.
Yes.
Someone said this is from a manga. I can't remember what, the Build Fighters manga or something like that. Anyway, so there'll be that one as well. But there's I'll go through. Here's the custom sets, the build custom sets. So like the option sets here first. This one is the changeling rifle. It's this.
This is my favorite part of Build Fighters kits. This stuff.
Yeah.
I love these weapon add-on packs.
It's cool. But the thing about these though is that I wish like when they give you parts like these where you have options, I wish they would give us 2 of like the main body of the gun as well.
Yeah.
It's like whatever you
I
do.
just wish they gave us 1/100 scale.
Yeah, that's true.
That's how I feel about the weapon sets that they stopped doing. They would like there was like 1 or 2 where you could build 2 complete weapons, but usually you only got enough to make the one, and then you had a whole bunch of extra pieces left over for no reason.
Yeah, the leftover pieces are cool for doing custom stuff and whatever you want to do with that. But just for the weapon sets, like they're cheap enough if you can get them in Japan. But for people outside Japan, if you're going to be paying probably around like $10-12 for something like that, it's not a lot in there. So anyway, it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of options with that that you can do, and I think as far as I can tell that. This weapon also comes with that kit, the Gym 3 separate kit there. So anyway, there's also this new stand at the Diver Ace unit, which is just a variation of the Action Base 5, basically. Has the same arm as the new Action Base 5.
But it's got that like triangle sort of shape from the Build Divers.
Yep. So
it's got
sorry, that picture is not. Oh,
what is it? The Plasky particle thingy?
Plasky, yeah.
Sorry. I'm talking about the wrong thing. This is about this weapon set. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
I'm not paying attention. I was looking at the base, but you should in this picture you should be looking at the weapons. Sorry, the swords and the backpack are a new weapon set here, and Yeah. You can see in this picture, it has the clear green parts there in the sword.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming that's not going to be included with the kit. That those are just going to be just regular plastic or something. Because as you can see here, there's nothing in there. Or that's just plain clear. I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's hard to tell.
But these are parts that are all coming with the new 00 Diver Gundam, but you can get them separately as a weapon pack like this. This is the new base, I wanted to say. Here you go. There you go.
Oh yeah.
So that'd be cool. I think that would be awesome if you put an LED like light underneath there to light up that base. Would be pretty awesome. Have any of you guys got any of the new action bases, 4 or 5 yet?
I think I have one of the new ones. The one that came with the Providence. Is that one of the new ones?
Nope.
No. Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
They're still not selling that one on its own yet for some reason. I still think that's the best action base though. The 4 and 5 are the new ones that just came out in December or November.
Oh no, not those ones. Yeah, no, I don't have that.
I know a lot of people were really excited about them. They look really cool.
I just did a review video on them a few days ago. Yeah, really nice. The arm is kind of interesting. You can separate, it's how it's like 2 halves. You can separate them to be 2 separate arms like that, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Gives you some versatility.
Yeah, and they also each one also comes with this smaller arm, which is not really strong enough to hold up a kit. Some people were saying in the comments that they were able to make it hold up their kit, but it's kind of more meant for like weapons or accessories like that. So you can actually have 3 arms in one base.
I mean, we're talking about that weapon set where you only get 1 back of the gun, and here you're getting like extra splitting ability, so you can mount 3 things. That surprises me. That's cool.
Yeah, that's what I like about these new action bases. They're quite versatile in that, more so than before. But I still think that action base that you're talking about that came with the Providence and a few other recent master grades, I still think that's the best one. It's the most stable. I think it's super strong. But yeah, there's that. It's very good. You can see all the different pieces, and it comes with a whole bunch of different connectors and stuff. And I think this is the last build.
Oh, are you guys excited for that backpack? Like I am.
I have to admit, this harkens back to like the early 2000s era of Hobby Japan, where all the modelers, somehow integrated these turbines into the backpack. Like, we had a heavy arms with this on there. I think Max Watanabe did one. Goof Customs, things like that. So this has kind of a special nostalgia value to me. So for that alone, I have to respect it.
Yeah,
it's cool. I think on its own it looks a little bit derpy, but
yeah, on its own
with the mono eye on there.
It's got a mono eye. I didn't even notice that in the photos.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But
on the grimoire, it looks pretty good.
It's great.
Yeah. And there, yeah, it's pretty cool. One thing that I don't really like about these is the like the kind of missile pods and the weapons that it comes with. They look really simple, really cheap, which they are very cheap.
Yeah.
Like the green parts of it, basically, I think, and like I said, the actual rotors look nice. All the gray parts of it, though, I could kind of go without weapons.
Oh, that's just some nice colors. Good old army green. That's some red.
That's not terrible. I have to admit, that's not terrible. I don't hate it.
Yeah. Interesting. You can definitely do some interesting stuff with that. So here's like the main protagonist Gundam, I guess, is going to be the 00 Diver, which is basically just a HG 00 Gundam with some new parts on there from that weapon set.
Get that Quanta as a mid-season upgrade.
Yeah, you can be sure there's going to be probably something like that. Yeah. So the nice thing about this one too is that it's by far the cheapest of the new ones coming out. They've kept at the exact same list price as just the regular 00 Gundam of 1,000 yen.
Oh,
so that's pretty nice. All the rest of them are more like 18 or 2,000 yen, like that.
Oh, so half the cost. Gee.
Yeah, so that's nice that they were able to keep the cost down for this one. So I'm sure it'll be popular. The head really reminds me of an Astaroth from Armblood Orphans. Like especially just like the V-fin design, the Astaroth has a similar kind of V-fin like that.
Yeah. Oh, it does too. Yeah.
Yep.
The shoulders are kind of more like strike shoulders than the kind of shape of them.
Yeah, with that bar sort of thing going across the side.
It's not bad.
Interesting. I'm not super excited about this one. This is probably the one I'm looking forward to the least. But on the other hand, the HD 00 Gundam is a really solid, really simple, fun kit to build. So that'd be cool. This is this was the one from the prologue, the H2 Magnum. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's pretty cool looking, I think.
I like the color. You know, the color
cool.
combo is pretty strong.
Yeah. So this one has all the 4. It's based on the H2 double bullet, I think, right? And yeah, the 4 bits there all come off and can fly around, as you saw in like some previous other pictures. The addition of these parts onto the gun is also pretty cool. It looks interesting. Yeah, the orange. What's that?
I think this one out of all of them that I've seen has like the coolest silhouette.
Yeah,
I
Like
agree.
real sharp and angular, and
yeah, very cool. Like the little claw toes as well. I'm trying to see it. You can kind of see in this picture here.
Oh yeah, there you go.
That's kind of cool. And here's the Gym 3 Beam. What is it? Beam Master. Yeah, Beam Master. Anyway, this guy, very bright color.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm super torn on this one.
Yeah, me too. It seems like I should really love it, but I don't know.
I really want to like it, but the knees are super goofy.
I like the knees.
Yeah.
That's one thing I really like.
It
I
just
like
seems
the-
like
I
overall
saw-
there's Go, Justin.
Go ahead. Go.
It just seems like there's no space to look through it. It seems like everything is full to bump up to the side of every other part.
Yeah.
I think that's just what it feels like.
And I think there's a
I
little
feel
bit
like-
too much orange. I think there needs to be a little variation in color.
Yeah. The brown's kind of a weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
And the
That's what
yellow-
I said.
Yellow on orange.
I agree. It's a bit too much orange for me. I really like the orange color, but to have the full, like almost the entire kit all in that orange color is a bit much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little too
I
striking.
think if they'd done a little more with the head. I'm not a fan of the knees. I like the standard GM3 / Novell knees. But I do think that moving those missile pods to the legs is a really interesting choice because it gives you more options for bigger weapons.
Yeah,
But
and
it feels weird that it's like 99% just the GM3 kit with like a couple new guns and a new head.
yeah, it's coming with that changeling rifle that we saw before, which would be a separate thing. But here you guys
Okay,
can
so
see.
that's kind of cool. Oh, it
And
looks like
can
we're
be-
also getting like inset parts for those vents. That is cool. Because the old one doesn't have that. That was a sticker.
So, yeah, I think with a different coat of color, that'll be a pretty cool looking kit. All right, so moving right along, the Grimoire Red Beret.
What the spare heads?
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
I just wanted to show this.
I never saw them.
Yeah, okay.
Now I'm
Yeah, okay.
super cool.
There you go. There's just the mobile suit itself there first. Yeah.
It reminds me of the GM Sniper K9.
Yeah. Very similar vibe to it. So yeah, it comes with these 2 remote heads that fit into the backpack.
The remote. So you get 3 heads total in the kit.
Yeah.
Oh
Nice.
my gosh, man! Finally, we're getting remote heads.
So they have,
What we always needed.
Oh my gosh. See, Tim, why do you not like build fighters? Look at this. This
I know,
is
right?
just the best.
Aren't they drones? They're drones. Josh is into drones now, so
Man, there we
we're gonna
go.
come full circle, and Josh
It's
is gonna get back into
merging.
Gunpla.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back
man.
into it. Oh,
drone
that's
heads.
great.
And also the legs up and up. This is one thing that I don't particularly care for because the new parts there on the legs look very just cheap, just these big hollow blocks.
It's neat looking. It's a neat idea, but it does look super cheap.
Yeah. I just, the grimoire, I actually don't mind it, but it's just the smile on its face. It's just, I can't get over it, man. It just looks like it's way too happy.
I never noticed that until now.
Well, now you cannot never unsee it.
Yep.
It's a happy little mobile suit.
Oh yeah, it also has roller skates. So
It does too.
Even better.
So what you're telling me is this is now a scope dog.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah,
Happy
Because-
scope dog.
Come on, red shoulder and everything. This I didn't notice he had roller skates. Has to be a scope dog reference.
yeah. Mhm. But it's cool. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I like it.
And this one,
Oh,
maybe
shit.
the one I could be looking forward to the most because I love the Kapul.
Yes.
I'm very
The
upset
penguin
about
Kapul.
this because I like the Kapul.
And of course, I think a lot of people's reaction will be, "Oh no, we're gonna get a HG Kapul kit." But like, if you look at this, there's maybe 2 or 3 parts from this that could actually be used for a actual Kapul kit. But yeah, I would say it's not any indication of that we're actually going to get a newer HG Kapul kit.
I mean, the thing has duck feet.
It's duck themed.
I mean, I thought it was penguin,
Oh yeah, right, penguin. That's right. Sorry, but yeah,
but it's got duck feet, man. Oh my
Yes, and
god.
it's got a beak too. I didn't even notice it's got a beak.
Yeah.
yeah, duck penguin. And the little one fits inside there.
Oh man. No,
Oh,
see,
geez.
I don't think they're targeting kids at all. This is
No.
for grown-ups.
Yeah.
I love this. This is great.
Yeah.
Uh,
One thing that I think is cool is that they sort of, in a way, incorporated both color schemes of the Kapul into this. The Turn A version is green, and the Double Zeta version is blue.
okay. Yeah.
So they kind of have both of those color schemes going on with that at the same time.
I made a Matryoshka doll or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
Hey, Justin, one cool thing about this particular kit, man, you could get it and paint it up and make it look like it's from Mega Man.
You probably could. I could see
You know
that.
what I mean?
You know, I'm down with that.
Like,
that
it
could
looks
be a
like-
cool idea.
Yeah, it looks like what's his name? Dr. Wily or whatever? One of those robots.
It does
from-
look like one of the robots.
Yeah, for real.
There you go.
Speaking of video game crossovers, did you guys ever see the Shovel Knight Gundam?
I don't
No.
know. It sounds familiar, but
No.
maybe I don't
It's
know.
amazing. If you guys get the chance, look that up. It's super great.
Yeah.
And if you haven't played Shovel Knight, you should probably do that too.
Yeah.
Especially if you
All
like
right.
Mega
Oh
Man.
yes.
This is the Ogre Gnx. The color scheme and just styling of it reminds me a lot of the what was that? Dark Matter Exia.
Oh yeah.
Mm,
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it
But-
looks more like a frame arms kit. Am I the only one seeing that?
It does
sort
look
of,
like
yeah.
that. It looks like that
Like one of the
Falcon
first
Frame Arms
generation?
kit.
Yeah.
Sort of.
I can see that. We're getting a lot of GNX kits. Like I'm not upset about it.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of use out of that recently.
Yeah.
Yes.
They all look super good. Like the first variant when they did, I wasn't really on board, but everything after that, this included, I mess with it.
So it's also using parts from the Age 1 Titus. That's
Yeah.
Look, they gotta do something with those age molds.
Yeah, right.
From the ones that I built, they're all really cool. It's just the series was.
I think people just got tired of building them because they were all kind of samey.
Yeah, it could be.
Not like the unicorn though.
No, the unicorn for some reason will never die.
Yeah.
So I really like those beam axes. Are pretty cool looking.
Yeah, I have to admit those are
chunky
interesting.
is at the back. The feet freak me out, but maybe that's the kind of thing that once I build it, I'm like, oh, these feet are the best. Like maybe it'll turn up to it. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
No.
They don't look good. They just don't look good. Like I said, this is one I'm torn. There are some aspects of the design that I like, and some not that much. I don't really like the head all that much. It's got kind of a really weird looking face. If you look at it.
Does it look like he has a little tiny mustache? Can you zoom up at all?
Something like that.
Kind of reminds me of a samurai or like an oni or something.
Yeah. Sure, it could definitely be going for that looks or Japanese demon look going on there. But I don't know. It would be cool anyway. This one.
Look at that box art. Oh.
Box art, yeah, it does look better, I think. This one's cool. CeraVe Sharon Hayes. Sharon Hayes. Yeah.
Now see, this is the one that I'm excited about. This looks weird to me.
I think it looks cool until you get to the feet, and then it's like, what are those?
I like the head. I like the head, and I kind of like the chest, but everything else is kind of a miss.
Yeah, the head's rad.
Yeah. So, question on the pods up near the shoulders. Is it just me, or do those look like the pods from 00?
Yeah.
That held the suit? Is that just me?
No, they are.
Oh,
that's kind of cool. I like that's interesting.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting little tidbit,
little Easter egg reference type deal.
Yeah,
so it's sort of like a kit bash between the CeraVe and like the model version of that ship, sort of.
Huh. I don't hate that. That's a interesting design, Q.
Yeah.
What are those GN things?
Yeah, and you see on the back skirt those GN pods, as Josh was saying, those connect onto the bottom of the feet to extend the legs. Like that.
Ah,
legs on legs.
Wow.
What in the world?
Yeah,
that's
it's so
fantastic.
Weird.
Oh my gosh,
it's so strange.
I can't wait till your review on this when you're like, I'm gonna bend the knee, and then we're gonna bend the knee again, and then we're gonna bend the knee again.
Yeah.
This knee joint has 280 degrees of bend as opposed to like 90.
I'm just sad that so far we don't have a picture of the, at least as far as I've seen, of the full kit, so I can see, like, get an idea of how the full thing looks with his leg extensions on.
Can you do, Zach, can you open like both of the images and then line up this bottom part to the bottom of the other one?
I could, but
okay, don't worry about it.
Complicated to do that right now. But yeah, also the two of the containers can be used for like these kind of like claw or cannon weapons, whatever that's supposed to be. I guess claws, sort of. And one thing that's quite interesting, I don't really know why, they have clear parts on the front of each of the 4 pods. You see, have those clear parts on there. It looks really weird.
Yeah, they didn't look really clear from the side, but they do look clear there.
Here you can see like on the top.
Oh yeah, they're definitely some transparency there. Yeah.
This like bazooka grenade launcher thing though looks really cool. I really like that weapon. Looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. That looks awesome.
I think there's a better picture you can maybe see here of all the parts.
Huh.
We need more bottom-mounted weapons.
Yeah, I dig it.
This one looks really interesting. This one as well. There's parts that look cool and parts that just kind of make me question what's going on here.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna buy it because I need the parts and the weapon.
Yeah. The weapon's super cool. All right. There's a couple more small, quick things here. There's a new Kara guy coming out from the series as well. There you go.
Yay.
You can praise over this.
That's fantastic.
And
it's like exploding with cute. Oh yes.
Yeah. And the last thing here, this is a Gundam base exclusive kit. of the crystal body unicorn. I think this looked great.
Yeah.
Now I know we were just talking shit about the unicorn and how it's got too many kits.
Ah,
Yeah,
I
there
saw
you
this
go.
in a Facebook group. I saw this in a Facebook group, and somebody was complaining about the hands.
of this
And I
kit?
told them to shut their mouth
What the
because
hell?
we don't get enough hands for high grades. So the crystals are pretty cool.
I love this just because
Yeah.
I've seen plenty of. I mean, you've seen online people trying to recreate this, and it's really hard to make it look good. But I think this looks really good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I dig it because it's, you know, it's just that iconic scene,
Mm-hmm.
you know, from Unicorn. I mean, that's the ultimate, you know, finality of it. So it was only a matter of time, I think, before they did something like this, and it looks like they pulled it off pretty well, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so. Of course, it would have been cool to see it in master grade or something a little bit bigger, but high grade, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. The whole
Another
kit is
cool
molded.
thing is it's gonna be a unicorn that you can build that's gonna be actually kind of different. Like,
Yeah.
I imagine the entirety of it is the same as the other high grades, but you don't have to do. Oh well, you get the parts anyway. So there you go.
Yeah, so it looks like it does come with all the full parts. Just a normal kit. I think it'll just be like
Does it
one
come
extra
with that
runner.
base
Yeah, base also
too?
included.
Yeah,
That.
that base? That's pretty cool.
So it's that, and then everything's molded in different colors as well, as you can see. Like the gray is the most different. It's in like that really metallic green color. The other colors are also kind of tinted as well.
I like
More
that green.
greenish.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those kits that I'm
wait,
gonna.
so
have
you
to-
get
Hmm?
do you get like you build the original high grade and then the extra crystal bits go on top of it again?
No, they're just
I think
replacement.
Oh, okay, just
unless
replacing
the code
parts.
is totally different.
Yeah, they're just
Wow.
replacement.
Like some parts you might layer it, but I think other parts you'll have to take part of it apart.
One thing that I'm worried about is if some of the white parts are going to be stickers on top of the cycle frame parts. Like,
Oh, dude, I didn't even think of that. That would be terrible.
yeah, like for example, like the front skirt here. That I don't think that little white bit in the center is going to be a separate part. It's probably just like a flat part of the cycle frame. You're meant to just put a little white sticker on.
Ah. You know what's going to happen.
We'll see. I've actually got one in the mail to me at the
That'd
moment.
be awful.
Oh,
Dude,
cool.
like, could you imagine asking that?
Yeah, that would not be fun. But I've got one in the mail, so I'll be reviewing that, actually. So stay tuned for that. And that is it.
All right.
At long last. There's a lot of
Rock
stuff.
and roll.
Yeah.
Good
Sorry.
bit of news. Good bit of news. All good. All good. Okay. So, just real quick before we move on, an interesting question posed by RF Aurora in the chat. If we were in a Build Fighters anime, what would our signature mobile suits be? Quickly, round robin. Josh, go.
Signature mobile suit would be Sinanju with Kshatriya binders.
Rockin'. Justin, go.
That'd be awesome. Do you even have to ask me? Come on now. It's the easy,
Easy
8
8. I know.
all day.
Fair enough. Zach.
The Rosen Zulu.
Oh, good one.
choice. Good choice.
Interesting
For
pick.
me,
I
it's
would-
easy.
I would never-
Hummingbird.
I mean, yes.
I could come up with that pretty quickly because I just did a Q&A video the other day, and someone asked about that sort of similar
Nice.
question.
Nice. All right, cool. So there you go, RF Aurora. Those would be our signature mobile suits if, heaven forbid, we were stuck in Build Fighters. Anyway, so let's move on to the meat of the conversation here. We're going to talk about sanding today, and why it's so important, and why you need to do it, even though it's boring and tedious and dirty and terrible and all that terrible, nasty stuff. But it's massively crucial to a good, nice, smooth paint job. So for me, I'm a huge supporter of kind of creating your own workflow and sticking to it, and not necessarily deviating it from it too much, unless you find better ways to do things, of course. So for me, what I do is, whenever I have to paint a kit, what I've usually done, since I'm touching almost every part of the model anyway, I love personally to wet sand. Do any of you guys wet sand before you paint?
Yeah, I wet sand when I'm doing after doing primer. Yeah.
Nice.
Occasionally, it's
Occasionally?
for me.
I
Not
find
every
that,
time, but
yeah.
Same here, just
if I'm
sometimes.
getting a lot of scratches and stuff going on.
Yeah. I find wet sanding gives insanely smooth surface. Now, for those of you out there in the world that aren't aware or don't know what we mean by wet sanding, sandpaper that is waterproof, and it says what it'll usually say waterproof paper on the back. This usually comes in, from what I've seen, in black or some other dark color. Here you go, Justin.
It says wet or dry.
Wet or dry, yeah. And you can use this dry too.
There's other little things, but for the most part, it'll let you know if you can use water with it.
Yeah, exactly. So if I'm like scribing custom panel lines or integrating, a piece of plastic plate or eliminating a seam line or something like that, I'll rough sand it first dry, and then to smooth it out, I'll go back, use wet, and really get a nice baby butt smooth finish. So,
and is the wet sanding, is that because the water takes away the particles, so that with each new sanding stroke, you're just basically using the paper as opposed to particles built into the paper that have been clogging it up? Is that why?
A little bit of both, because what you're going to find is the water lubricates the sandpaper, so it'll go over the part easier. What I've also noticed is that 400 wet sanding is a ton smoother than 400 dry sand. So yeah, I think part of that is the sandpaper, part of that is the particles that you're sanding acting as an abrasive medium in addition to the sandpaper, and because it becomes like a slurry almost, and it just leaves a super smooth finish. So I love wet sanding. I do it all the time. I actually do it as I build. I actually have a little container of water next to me at all times, so that when I finish a part or file it down or whatever, I can just dip some sandpaper in that, go to wet sand it real quick, and then check my work. So that's just kind of what I do. What do you guys do?
In terms of sanding, I just do I use my file basically to get rid of nub marks and to maybe reshape some sort of parts. And then after that, I will use my sanding sticks and then fingernail buffing pad that has various grades on it to do that, to do my general sanding. Yeah. But Zach, if you want to, can you give me screen? I'll show you guys something here. This is just from my. Cool. You guys see that all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is just the sanding stage on my Zeta book, where I'd extended the legs, so the outer armor had been chopped and then glued and then puttied, and then the putty you can see at the top. There's a lot on there, and you go down the bottom, and this is wet and dry, and I use a 280 and then a 600 and a 1200, and like Tim said, I use water as well, and it really smooths the process out while you're sanding it. It almost feels like the paper is gliding over the part. And you can see where the putty has kind of rested down into the crevices and the lower kind of surfaces. And then I put the primer on top, and it basically covers the whole thing. And if anybody hasn't used primer before, it gives a good gripping point for your paint, but it also acts as a putty as well and fills in even smaller surface differences. And on the next page, you can see with the 1200 grit, wet and dry, you can see the white is where the putty is, and then the primer has filled in gaps that you couldn't even see and that the putty couldn't fill when you originally did it. So this is mainly when I do my wet drying, is I'll prep I'll prime once, wet and dry, prime twice, wet and dry, and then prime a third time just to make it as perfect as I can make it. So yeah, that's what I do, Sandy.
Nice.
Well, that explains it, Josh.
Yeah.
Yep.
All that work. It's no wonder you didn't win GBWC amateur.
Now, what grades of paper? What grits do you work through normally?
Normally in that one, let's see, 280. This is with the putty when there's a big chunk of putty. 280, right. 600, and then I go 1200 and sometimes 2000 if I want it really, really smooth. Yeah, gotcha. So I've noticed that. I mean, the Zeta is the first one that I've fully painted, primer and everything, and I wanted it to be as perfect as possible. So yeah, so I went about 1200 to 2000. Yeah. Nice.
Zach, what's your practices when it comes to sanding?
Well,
you can take me off, Zach. Take me off screen.
Oh, yeah. Sure. I start off with a good level of disdain, and and then move on to apprehension and procrastination, and then finish it up with a little bit of disgust.
Awesome. I don't put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't like sanding at all. It's so boring. It's like tedious and just like hands cramp and just not fun. But
it's the worst part of the hobby. The worst part of the hobby.
This is not.
Well, that and masking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Masking is a special kind of hate.
Yeah.
Masking sucks too. Sanding. I don't really use a file just from the most basic point I'm talking here, for just snapping up a kit. I don't really use a file for nubs because I think it's too strong. It's really easy to damage the part, to go too hard on it. So when I'm just using sandpaper for just sanding nub marks and things, I usually just use sanding sticks for flat areas and just sandpaper for curved areas. And you'll usually just start off with something like 600 grit, and then when I'm getting ready to go into painting, I'll switch it up to something like 800 or 1000. But I pretty much never go over 1000, and it's always smooth enough for me. But because I guess if I tried it, maybe I would be able to tell the difference. But even with that, everything looks really smooth to me. So I don't really see. I would really feel I want to kill myself if I was doing what Josh is doing.
I think I must get some sort of satisfaction from laying down primer and then sanding it back and seeing the plastic come through, but then seeing where the primer is set down, and I'm like, oh, it's filled in all the crevices. There must be some sort of I don't know, OCD or something kind of satisfaction that I get from that. Otherwise, it would drive me crazy. Yeah, but I like it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I mean, you're doing something that you really want to be a masterpiece. I'm not really. I also just don't really build with that same kind of motivation. I'm not building a masterpiece, just something fun, simple that I just enjoy, sort of thing. I don't.
Yeah, that is the building the masterpiece is a sort of a self-made prison or curse.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah, which is why I don't do too many of them too often. Yeah.
Well, it's just a double-edged sword, right? You're putting yourself through all that much work, but then the result is, of course, something that's just so much nicer.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really do too much or anything really fancy. I will sometimes wet sand, but that's more so the reason I do that is just dust control. It doesn't make as much dust flying around the room. So that's kind of really the only reason that I ever really do much wet sanding. But it's just relatively simple. Usually, if I really need to get the job done, I'll go to something as hard as 400, but never really too much more than 400. If I need something harder than 400, then I'll use a file. But usually about 600, and then 800 or 1,000 to finish, and that's pretty much it. Nothing really too much fancier than that.
Nice.
I also use, as everybody knows, is I use the sanding sponge. So if you've like got some kind of rough surfaces just over a part, say like a Synergy armor or something, getting sandpaper in there is actually really tricky, and you'll be folding it to try and get in, and you might put in some actual sandpaper lines where you folded sandpaper. This stuff's really good to bend and fit into all the curves, and it's pretty rough when you get it. You can get different grits of that, and so that can be just like a sanding sponge that I really like using. Yeah.
Cool. You know, I think what kind of what Zach talked about is actually a really good thing to bring up, and you know, kind of the difference between, you know, say me and Josh, who entered GBWC, you know, we enter competition, so our builds need to be competition level, to where Zach builds for, you know, love and beauty of, you know, his own creations. They can be one and the same, or they can be completely different. So, you know, build to what your desire is, I think. Sand to what your desire is, you know. You know, if you're entering competitions, consider taking it up a notch. If you're not, and it looks good, and if you're happy with it, go with what you got, you know. So I think that's kind of a really good point to make, which, you know, Zach brought up. So
and it's not like that you guys don't love your kits, where like it's just
no,
like,
yeah,
have to do it. Obviously, you guys still have
Sell
to
it out. Yeah,
we just slave over them.
I think I heard somebody say, like, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist with just making things, and somebody said that you should decide what percentage of perfection you're going to do for a project. And most of the time, I'm going with just 100. It's got to be 100, and I get disappointed if it's not. But some projects I've done, and I've gone, okay, I'm going to go 50% perfection, and it actually is a freeing sort of sense. And so same with the sanding, you're like, oh, I'll do like 800, and that there's a couple little nicks, but yeah, it's all right. I'm cool with that. So you kind of decide how much perfection you're going to try and apply to it, and that's basically the result you're going to get. Yeah.
No, I totally agree. I think you need a palate cleanser every once in a while. You know, for me, building when I finished the Hummingbird, I mean, I did the Blue Destiny, and then I did the little new bear guy, and then obviously the Gundam version Logic. Woo! You know, so I think those were not necessarily to the level of detail, obviously, that and persistence that I put into the Hummingbird, but you know, they were nice, quick, kind of somewhat simple builds. And yeah, I mean, I think you do need that, you know, to kind of, I don't know, get reacquainted with what it feels like to not be under pressure. So what about you, Justin? What are your sanding practices?
You know, I'm kind of between like you and Josh, and then like kind of between Zach. Like, I haven't competed or anything like that. I understand the mentality behind it. So most of the stuff I do, I'll start around an 800 grit and I'll work my way up. But I do have these like crazy sanding sets that go up to like 12,000 if I ever want to get really crazy. But you know, like. It just depends on what I'm working on. Like if I'm working on a commission or something like that, I'll put a little bit more effort into it because it's not going to be in my hands at the end of the day. Whereas like stuff that I'm working on, and you know, I try to get rid of all the nubs and the seams and stuff like that. But if there's like a small little divot that you're not going to see when I take pictures of it, I'm not going to sweat it or lose any sleep over it because it's not going in a competition case somewhere.
Right. You'll be there. Don't worry. One day.
One day, I've got some ideas floating around. We'll see what happens. But you know, right now, that's not where I'm at. We're just working towards it, sharpening the skills.
Nice. Now, you know, one thing that was brought up in the chat by some people is the difference between going for matte coat, flat coat finish, or a glossy finish. The difference between the two can be pretty staggering, simply because you're not worried about every single little imperfection in a flat or matte coat, but you do have to worry about that if your ultimate goal is for gloss. Especially if you're
that's something that people don't think about when they do the metallic paint jobs. They don't think about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and the candies and all that. Yeah.
That can kill your metals quick.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be just, masochistic in your sanding practices, wet sanding to up to 3,000 or maybe even higher grits, sanding in between, the paint, even the paint surface, you can wet sand, wet sanding the decals even after you lay those down, just to get rid of any hint of edge. Because the one thing that you're going to see, obviously, in the gloss is the reflection of any light coming off of that surface. And if it's not crystal clear and smooth, then you've got imperfections. If you look at any really, really nice clear coat on like a car or something like that, and I'm talking about a really nice car, you will not see any imperfections. If it's done correctly, you'll see almost a mirror finish if you look at it in the right angle. So you want to achieve that kind of same thing, when you're building and when you're sanding. So keep that in mind, especially if you're going for that glossy look. It's not just a simple case of spraying on a gloss coat and being done with it. So food for thought.
Lost it.
No, I was just gonna say about the cars, though. The nice thing about cars is that when they're working on that, they have a lot more wide surface to sand. We're often working on this tiny little surface area that you have to sand.
Yeah. And that's where the masochistic level of detail and attention comes into play, getting those itty bitty little surfaces. So yeah, great point. So
speaking of that,
sorry, go ahead.
I was doing,
Josh.
Yeah, I was doing some little bits. I guess when you do some detailing, you do some chiseling on your kit. Your chisel sometimes doesn't give a perfect surface. So say you have like a armor piece like this, and you've chiseled this part down. This surface here might be a little bit rough, and you can't get your file in, you can't get your sanding stick in. And so I would use, this is a toothpick, but fake like this is the matchstick. And you get the matchstick. And you'd actually glue a strip of sandpaper underneath the matchstick, just with some like craft glue or super glue. Let it dry, and then you have a teeny tiny sanding stick, and you can get in and just do teeny tiny strokes like that. And I would even chamfer the edge of the matchstick so it was like a 45. Yeah.
Stop
it. Let's talk about masochistic.
Well, actually, I was just about to mention something along the same lines, because that's one thing people will ask me every so often. A question that I get is when removing a seam line, sometimes the seam line will go through a recessed detail. Mm-hmm. So people ask about how to sand that area inside that recessed area. And for me, more times than not, I'll just fill it in with putty because I can't be bothered. But what are you guys' methods that you would say? I think, like Josh is saying, one thing that you can do is just cut a super tiny piece of sandpaper. But even that is kind of hard.
Yeah, I would chisel out the detail a little bit, scrape it out to clean it, and then get a little tiny thing like this. And the movement you're doing is like 1 or 2 millimeter back and forth, but it does work.
I mean, for a recessed area like that, and you're going to find those more on high grids than larger scale. Man, for me, it would be situational. I think 9 times out of 10, I'd probably do what Josh does and take kind of a wide body chisel and just kind of do what I can in there. And if worse comes to worse, fill it with a small piece of plastic sheet or option part or something like that to hide it, rather than go about actually trying to sand it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think too. Or just fill it and then just remake it.
Yeah.
I usually just scrape away stuff like that with a knife. Just kind of get in there as best I can.
Yeah. Another option, like what you're saying, Tim, what you could do is, I think I did this for some kit at one point. I don't remember. Maybe the Victory 2 or something, but is just cut out the detail and then either, like you're saying, replace it with just something, put like a plastic piece behind there that like is the full shape of the area that you need. Or just have it just be an empty space. You can call it whatever. It's now a vent, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Just cutting out the details.
No, that's a great idea too. Yeah, that's great. That's actually great. So, Justin, what were you going to say? I know you wanted to chime in.
What? Oh, I said for like what Zach was saying is, I'll just kind of get in there with a knife and scrape it away a little bit.
Right.
But usually it's really small, fine stuff that you're not really going to see too well anyway. So.
Right. Cool.
You have times like sometimes when you're working on a head and say on the side of the head, you got the V fin here. There's like a little tiny divot down here. And so what you want to do is aim to lower that whole part around the divot. And yeah, you can use your hobby knife to just scrape like that. And because the hobby knife's got a flat edge, it'll take everything down to be the level of that little divot. Whereas sandpaper in there would be really tricky to do, and you might damage it further. So the hobby knife is basically a sander as well. Really precise sander too. Yeah,
and that's actually a really great transition to kind of what tools we use too. For me, especially when cutting from the sprues and clearing those nubs, what I like to do is leave a little bit of nub on, and then get in there with my fine nippers, trim that down, and then any excess, try to whittle that down with my hobby knife. But then anything else, I smooth it out just with scraping. A good scraping action with your hobby knife will work wonders with smoothing out a part, and I use that a lot actually, especially when working with like epoxy putty, reshaping some of the Ozymandias parts. Was my primary sanding method, was just scraping the parts, just to smooth to get a uniform transition between the putty and the piece. So. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a good, very, very good method. If you're not using it, start incorporating that in your building process. So somebody asked, do we use sanding blocks? Now, sanding blocks, for those that don't know, can come in kind of different forms. I've got these two. Well, I've got actually more than these two, but these are the two primary ones. And I got these from Hobby Mate in Singapore. And these came in as added bonuses with, I think, Scratch Build Revolution when it first came out. And these are made from clear acrylic. And they're just maybe, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch thick. They come with really nice double-sided tape. And I've replaced the sandpaper on these several dozens of times, just to redo you get a better surface for the sandpaper and everything. So these are great. So sanding blocks come in great when you're sanding at a corner. Somebody in the chat mentioned, how do you avoid sanding over and rounding the corners on something like this, a sanding block, or something as simple as needle files are great too. You have to be careful with these. These are aggressive, but they keep the shape. They're nice and rigid, and they help you to avoid rounding over that corner that you're never going to get back. Sanding blocks are a great alternative to those if you need a little bit of a higher grit and a little bit more delicacy. So
yeah, the thing you might not realize when you're just even using your finger with sandpaper is, as soon as you're pressing, your finger is dimpling in, and that's immediately making it curve.
Yeah,
really hard to get sharp edges when you're sanding by your hand. And yeah, like Tim said, I just use these little sanding sticks, and it's just some like plastic. It's almost like plat plate in the middle. Actually, it might actually be plat. It is. Don't
plastic?
Throw away your sanding sticks. It's just plastic. I think it's just like plat plate. Man. Anyway, so yeah, you want that strength, and that it's almost like just this really hard right angle to where you're sanding. And free plat plate. So there you go.
There you are. Nice. And honestly, go ahead, Zach.
No, I was just gonna say I was noticing that recently as well. The plat plate in the middle of the soft type. There's of sanding sticks. I think you'll see there's a hard type and soft type, and the soft ones I've actually used to always use hard ones, but recently I actually like using the soft ones a little bit more because you have a little bit of leeway with that. They're rigid enough that you can use it for flat areas, but also soft enough you can use it like for curved areas without taking away too much
I use like
on either end.
this kind of block here, and that maybe kind of like what you said. This is like foam inside, so it's very firm, but it also gives a little bit of curve. And this is what I use on the Senanju, because of course he's got all the curves. And if I use one of these, I would get ridges all over, and this just goes over so nicely. So it depends on the surface that you're working on, what kind of result you want. But yeah, having this as well is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. The shape of the surface is key to what you need. If it's an angular, more Federation style suit, sanding blocks and files. But if it's a curvy, sexy Xeon suit, yeah, go with sanding pads or sanding block like Josh showed you. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So another thing, like for those of you that are doing modifications or working with epoxy putty and things like that, you guys have seen me show this before. This big boy right here, this is my bastard file, and that's actually the name of it. If you look it up on the internet, you will find bastard file or just a straight file. I love this thing. It clears off a lot of material very, very quickly, and it smooths down a rough surface like crazy. It's very, very good. And this thing is pretty inexpensive. You can go to your local hardware store and get these for maybe $6-8. Justin's got one. You got it? Yep.
I don't even know where I got it. I don't know where it came from, but I had it.
They just show up. It's like Christmas presents. Santa just leaves it in on your hobby desk, right? So these are great. These are awesome. Yeah, right. These are awesome. If you don't have a bastard file and you're doing modifications, you're not living life right. Get one of these.
It's like having a lawn mowing and like your grass is up to your waist. You don't go in with a lawnmower because that's just too much. You might go in with a weed whacker to get just the big tall stuff down. Then you go in with a mower. Otherwise you'd be there forever. Yeah. Yeah,
exactly. And just getting back to the sanding blocks now, mine are made of acrylic. If you know somebody that has a laser cutter and it would be nice enough to cut a piece of acrylic, you can make these on your own. But if you don't have that luxury, you can get thin pieces of what's called MDF, medium density fiberboard, from your local hardware store. And you can just cut out small pieces and use that because MDF is very, very stable. It doesn't warp like wood might do. And it is a much more rigid base. They use that a lot in cabinet making, like internal structures, sometimes doors and things like that. It's very stable. It's got a very nice density to it. And if you cut it and you put some double-sided sandpaper on it, or just double-sided tape, and you put some sandpaper on it, you've got yourself a nice little sanding block. So if you don't have it, go ahead and get it. MDF is cheap at hardware stores too. So go DIY something. What else?
Speaking of DIY.
Yeah, go.
Step in Simon's place, because I was hoping Simon would be here to talk about this. Simon's DIY sanding sticks, and you guys maybe do something the same, but I know about this just from Simon's video before, where he explained how he made his DIY sanding sticks of just using popsicle stick. I think you guys in Europe they call them some lolly stick or something gay like that. Obviously, popsicle
people from the UK.
Sorry.
Anyway, go ahead.
Nothing wrong with gay either. Nothing wrong with gay.
Of course. That goes without saying. Anyway,
what do we call them? Yeah, paddle pop sticks. That's what we call them. Because we have a particular ice cream called the paddle pop. Yeah.
Nice.
And then it's a paddle, and you smack people, but then you put ice cream on. You go, Zach. Yeah. Come live in Australia, Zach. I'll teach you all the way to really we'll enjoy paddle pops together. Okay, keep going.
Anyway.
Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Where do you pick up from that?
Simon was explaining about using those and just glue. I think he just used like Elmer's glue or white glue, if I remember correctly, and just basically just had this like strip of sandpaper that you have, just like Tamiya or whatever, and you just glue your popsicle stick on the paper and fold it over and glue that side and just cut it, and then you have a DIY sanding stick. Super simple.
Yeah. Nice.
Like Tim mentioned, though, the thing is with wood is that it will warp, but if you're just looking for something cheap and that's just like something simple to use, it'll work fine, I'm sure. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just, whatever your level of expectation is, meet or exceed that. If you're good with a paddle pop with some sandpaper on it, rock it.
Hearing you say paddle pop sounds so funny.
I am going to use that religiously from now on.
That's fantastic.
I'm going to go find paddle pops. But, you know,
I'm not going to be able to keep any more classes with Tim because of this.
Yeah, right. But again, if you want to invest in you know, higher quality tools, if you have access, man, laser cut some acrylic. It's good stuff. So yeah, rock and roll.
I thought of one extra technique is sometimes you want to just get a little bit in. You don't want it to be toothpick size, so you can use a little Q-tip, and you tear off a little bit of sandpaper, and you lay the Q-tip in that, and then you hold the top here. And what that does is it'll give you a little bit of downward pressure that you can get some more force right on this teeny tiny surface here. So that's just an option that you have. So I remember using that on the Zeta. Yeah.
Very cool. These little tricks, you know, you'll find and you'll develop your own as you build, because a lot of these things that we are mentioning are very situational, that we've done on our own kits to meet the situation that we've encountered. So, you know, you'll find and you'll build experience as you build more models, and as you kind of up your skill set too. So, take these and rock them out. So real quick, like I've got this whole cup that I have, and it's just filled with little bits and shit of sandpaper and the whole nine. I don't throw these things away unless they're just demolished. I'll save them and you know, go through them and use them. So keep that in mind. And I've even got really low grit stuff in here. I think this might be 220 or something like that. Yeah, I mean, and that's mind you.
That's how you can just get rid of a whole head. You just keep hitting in the head and go away.
Yeah, right. No, I think that was more for sanding seams on a base that I was building. It has that color to it. But yeah, I mean, save your sandpaper scraps because you can reuse them. You don't have to throw them away. But where to find sandpaper? Where even just to buy it? If you don't have the luxury of having a hobby store around you, you know, you can buy sandpaper in a lot of different places. Some places won't have really high grits. If you go to, say, a hardware store, Home Depot here in the States, Lowe's, places like that, obviously they're going to be different, you know, wherever you guys live in the world. I think the highest they go to is maybe 400, 800 grit, which for me is like going to be on the low end of, you know, the sanding spectrum. So you might have to go to an auto store, you know, and look at like the painting section, and, you know, for those really high grit sandpaper. In the States here, we have a store chain called Harbor Freight, and that's actually where I get a lot of mine from, because they carry up to 3,000 grit, which is really nice, and it's really inexpensive. That's where I get this nice wet sanding paper from, and they come in packs of like 6 sheets, like 4 to 6 sheets, and they're really inexpensive. So check out Harbor Freight. You know, you can get some really good deals there. It's cheap stuff, but some of the stuff isn't cheap, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I mean, so look at different places. If you can't find anything in any store around you, obviously there's the internet. So
hey,
and don't forget, you can go to a chemist or a pharmacy. I don't know what you guys call a drugstore.
Okay.
And you can get a sanding stick, and that usually has 4 grits on it.
Yeah.
And that's something if your hardware store doesn't have all the wet and dry and stuff.
Yeah. That's a great point. You know, in you know, convenience stores or beauty supply stores and things like that. You can get, you know, like the sanding blocks that Josh showed before, or the sanding sticks, or they're called emery boards. You can even get those kind of cloth buffers if you're doing really like high gloss stuff. Those are great because they're almost like suede, which is really good for polishing. Really good. So yeah, beauty supply stores. If you're a dude, take your girlfriend in there. Drag your mom along so you have an excuse, so you're not embarrassed. That's what I do.
Or nope, you just got to go in on your own, hold the sanding stick, and just say, "I built Gunpla," and yell it, and then everybody will like lift you up and carry you out, and you'll be celebrated.
They'll pay for them
in
for
Australia.
you. You don't have
They'll
to
pay for them. You get sponsored.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so you know, those are good places. So sourcing is always really important. Go ahead, Josh.
One other thing I was going to say about the sanding is basically finishing, and a key ingredient to that is having good light. I have like these lamps, 3 of these lights. Basically, when you're sanding and you're looking to get a good finish, if you can't really see it, it's really hard to know if you've got a good finish or not. And I think the key to sanding and imperfections is light and shadow, because if there's a flat surface and there's a bump, then it'll cast a shadow, or if there's a divot, it'll cast a shadow. So I get my light like this, and I get my part in here, and basically what you're looking for is an almost vertical down next to the surface. If you look at it horizontally like this, if you look at your part horizontally, you can't see shadow. You have to tilt your part like this, and you can see that my hand starts to get shadows. So whenever I'm working, I'll be sanding a bit, and I'll move it under the light, and I'll tilt it back and forth, and you can see where the shadows are. And you'd be surprised how a part to the naked eye looks really smooth, and if you put it next to a light, you just see all these little imperfections. So don't do it too often if you're actually wanting to start painting, because then you'll be really sad. So many times with my Zeta, I'm like, okay, done, and I move it, and I'm like, what? And of course, it's like a nano divot, but I wanted it to be really good. So light is key, and I actually recommend 2 lights is really good, but close to your light.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, because even if it looks smooth, like Josh said, or even if it feels smooth, even just to your fingertip or whatever, it might not be. So if you hold it under light and move it around, you'll see those shadows, you know, start to, you know, show up and pop. So wonderful point, my friend. Wonderful point.
Yes.
So last thing that I want to kind of talk about real quick is, and this is on the very low end of sanding. This is when you really need to hog off a lot of material, and that's the Dremel or rotary tool. Now, you're not going to use a Dremel or rotary tool for fine or even medium sanding. That's when you need to remove a lot of material. This grinds off. I love these set of bits because they come in a ton of different shapes. I don't know. Can you guys see that? Is that focused there? Yeah. Okay. So they, you know, obviously you can see a ton of different shapes, from spherical to conical, to kind of bulbous and round to just straight cylindrical. These are great sets to have. And I find myself using these in a lot of different scenarios too, not just for grinding and everything, but what I'll do is take some of these, especially like the conical ones, and I'll put these in my pin vise with the largest chuck, and I'll use them in my pin vise for things on, you know, so I can really have super precise control over these. So
just hand powered. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now what I'll do also too, when I'm snap fitting models, this little conical one here is a great little tool, because I'll put this in my pin vise, and what I'll do is I've developed this thing where I use this and I rotate it 10 times in the receiving hole for the peg. And when I go to strip that model apart again, it's super easy to take apart. So basically, nice. I'm just kind of reaming out the top portion of that receiver hole. And so the pin doesn't have a ton of grip, but just enough to stay together. So these little buddies come in super handy, and you can find them almost anywhere, and they're not that expensive. I think this set cost me maybe $20. If you were to buy these individually, it'd probably be 3 or 4 times that. But just on Amazon, this nice little set, 10 pieces in here for about, I think, $20. Might have been a little bit more expensive, maybe 25 or so. But yeah, these are great. If you can't find them, they're bits or burrs. You don't necessarily want to go straight to Dremel. They're good, but they're not the best rotary bits out there. These are just by a Chinese company, I'm guessing, ZJ Chow. And the cool thing about these is that what they're called is double flutes. So any way you grind, they will take off material, which is really good. So they take off material on clockwise and counterclockwise as well, depending on in what direction your particular rotary tool spins. So these are great, but again, not for fine work. If you're using these, you're hogging off a lot of material. So yeah, Dremel, it's a great little tool. So invest. So
were you guys gonna say something before Zach?
I was gonna say exactly what you mentioned about just beauty supply store.
Yeah.
Getting anywhere that sells like the nail files, emery boards. So yeah, you mentioned that already.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I will say too about just the Dremel though, the one that I got from David Union is really nice as well.
Yes.
That one that's more expensive, and like because it's one that's actually a hobby tool, like specifically, but it is really nice. So
does it do low rotation?
Very.
Like RPM. Yeah. So if anybody's used a Dremel on I'll sometimes use one of the sanding discs to get rid of a lot of plastic, but within about half a second it starts to melt the plastic because it's rotating so fast. Because that's why Dremels and rotary tools, they want the power. They don't have power, but they have rotation speed. But lower rotation is good because that lessens the chance of melting.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the David line of tools used by a lot of modelers overseas. I wish, David guys, if you're watching, come on to the US. I'd love to purchase one of your tools or try it out or what have you. Hint, hint. But no, I those look amazing. I'd love to own one myself. So. And the fact that you can get such low RPMs, massive plus.
I did one video showing that. I was planning on doing some more. So you guys, not you guys, well, and you guys, but the general audience will see me using that more in the future as well. And I'm really blown out here, aren't I?
Yeah. Got that beauty filter on.
Yeah, right.
Let me just adjust that.
Sexy lighting.
All right. That's better.
Nice.
Anyway.
So, you know what? Just a real quick shout out here. This is cool. The last comment here in the chat here, Mr. Wayne E. Weatherwax. He said he just ordered Josh's book, downloaded it, and I'm now printing it out. Great job, Josh. Enjoy Gunpla Talk here in Western Massachusetts, U.S. Retired U.S. Navy old guy, 73 years old, building Gunpla to keep him young.
Man,
salute to you, sir. Thank you for your service and awesome, great job building it at such an experienced age. Well done. Respect. That gets massive respect from me. So yeah, keep watching Gunpla Talk, sir.
I was bummed that I didn't discover Gunpla until I was like 35, and I'm like, damn, where has it been all my life? I hope it didn't take too long, Wayne, to find it, but it's so good, right? You just now, if you're new to the game, you just have hundreds and hundreds of kits to build. So I'm actually jealous. Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. I love seeing stuff like that. That's cool.
Welcome, Wayne. Welcome to the hobby.
Just goes to show you're never too late to get into the hobby. That's awesome. Nope. Mad respect. All right, cool. So, hey, it's 10 minutes to the end here. Let's quickly wrap it up. Let's start with some plugs here, and we'll finish it out. So, Josh, you want to start us off? What do you got to plug, sir?
Yep, you can check out my stuff on Facebook. I basically have all photo albums and everything up there, all my builds and final galleries and stuff. So that's Josh Rodera on Facebook. And there's also the Gundam Logic page, which is a cool concept that we all came up with. Little cube Gundam, go check it out. Gundam Logic, and I encourage everybody to build their own. It's really fun. And you can also get my book on joshrodera.com. And it's a, I think, 300-page work in progress book. Download the whole PDF, pay what you want. And then there's also my art prints on there, so you can check out my art prints, and I ship all the way around the world. Buy 2 prints, you get free shipping. Try and make it easy for everybody to get it. So check it out and message me on Facebook anytime. I love chatting to people. Say hi. Yep.
Awesome. Justin, plugs, go.
Oh man, let's see. I'm on literally every social media platform known to man. Justin Eats Builds. I'm more frequently on Instagram than anything else. Been a little quiet lately because I'm trying to finish some stuff and get it out the door so I can start fun projects. Like Tim, I've been in the process of revamping my t-shirt store. That's a big thing that I've been trying to push. I just reopened my Patreon as well. You know, check me out on whatever.
Check me out on whatever. Yep, nice.
You could probably type me into some social media site that nobody knows about, and I might be there. So,
all right, Zach, go for it, man.
Yo, here YouTube is the main thing, of course. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, I have my contest that's ongoing until April 20th. So enter in that. Again, it's just sending in physical mail for your entry into just a giveaway. It's not a contest, just giveaway. So if you want to win something for free, just send a postcard or whatever. And the address for that is in that contest announcement video description. Also got some Gunpla reviews coming, the Gym Command, and then the GNX, Striker GNX, the Act Zaku, and then this guy, which I've just been snapping up. He now has legs.
So, nice.
There you go. A to Z Gundam, and Star Wars K2SO review as well.
Yeah, cool. Was that a fun kit?
Yeah, it's super simple. So I think like probably the biggest complaint people are going to have about it is that it's kind of expensive for what it is. Yeah. It's in the list price like 2,800 yen.
Yeah.
And it's a relatively simple kit. It's just 2 runners.
Darn.
But
not a bad looking.
Really nice.
Oh, Zach, and can you give me screen? I've done some little chip chopping of let's see which window.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Is that working?
Oh, look at that.
There you go.
There you go.
That's what it looks like.
On the fly too. Look at that.
Yeah. And it actually looks, I like the proportions more because it's a bit more Kotoki. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Proportions are better. Shapes on their own are still kind of ugly, but
yeah, no. So
a little weird.
There you go. Yeah. So if anybody needs any hardcore Photoshop work done, I do Photoshop freelancing. So there you go. And you can't even see the seam. You can't even see the joint in the photo. So, yeah.
It looks like one photo to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, totally. That's it. Yeah.
Perfect.
I want to know how they got that weird crop on that camera. I mean,
yeah.
The special Japanese lens, Justin. Don't worry about it.
I'm around cameras all day. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, right. Oh man. All right. So, real quick plugs for me. Wow. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, in the future, YouTube. I saw a couple of you subscribe just during the show. So thank you. If you're still watching, go subscribe to the channel. There's going to be some good content coming relatively soon up there. Keeping a lookout for the store announcement. That's going to be coming back with some really, really cool stuff. Some really cool hats. This bad boy right here, this mecha hat. I've been rocking this like 24/7. I love this little guy. That's going to be coming up. So yeah. So real quick, I want to say thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to Josh, Justin, and Zach for participating. Shout outs to Simon and Jim, who we have missed the last few months and so on. Go check out their stuff. Gundam UK and Gunpla Fixation, respectively, for Simon and Jim. They do really cool stuff. Simon's working on like a Purple Rain looking type of frame arms kit. It looks kind of
excited.
it looks kind of it looks kind of pimp. I like that. Jim's got some really awesome tutorials and things like that. Both of them have YouTube and all that fun stuff. So check all that out. Again, thank you for watching. Wayne Weatherwax, you're the man. Zach, finish us up.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say one more thing. Sorry, I forgot to mention, but I did want to drop this about the Roast My Kit series that I wanted to start doing. I found a co-host. Actually, he found me.
Cool.
Recommended himself. Is Gundam Nerd.
Yes,
you guys know him.
Oh man,
himself. Yep.
I'm excited about this.
Let me just say right now, you could not have chosen a better co-host for this.
Well, like I said, he sent me a message and said that he liked the idea and he thought he would be good for that. And I thought, that does make sense.
Mm-hmm. I was actually going to recommend him to you, but he reached out to you before I could, mention it.
I so his credentials. He's 100%.
Yeah.
Now I'm super on board for this. I'm very excited.
So right now, real quick, just as a side note, for those of you guys watching, if you have Instagram, even if you don't have Instagram, go join just to watch Gundam Nerds live stream. They are, how can I describe it? An amazing.
They're one of a kind
of information, boasting, bravado, and just so much charisma. Man, Brax is my boy. I love him. He does great work, and he's an amazing photographer and model kit poser. And posing, as I mean, like actually to pose his models. He's really, really good at that. I can take some pointers from him. But go follow Gundam Nerd on Instagram. He's definitely worth a follow just for the live streams alone. My absolute seal of approval. So, Zach, great choice, my friend. Great choice, and I look forward to that. That's going to be awesome.
So that'll be coming soon.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
All right.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, thank you guys for watching episode 32. Check us out next month for episode 33, The Return of the Jedi or something. And you know what? We'll catch you next month.
If you guys have suggestions for episode topics, let us know anytime.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Good call.
Damn it, Justin, you didn't get to draw this episode.
Oh,
we gotta wait for Simon. We gotta wait for Simon.
Damn it.
We gotta wait for Simon.
We gotta wait for Simon.
Okay.
It's
gotta be a group thing, or at least those two. So
no, we all have to do it. Everybody has to do
it. Next episode we're all drawing as well. Yeah.
Okay, well they'll have to do two then. They got to catch up.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool. That does it for Gunpla Talk for us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next month.
Bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye.
Bye.